everybody, it's Connie and Mom. Mom and Connie to go along with the M and C. This is part 2 of our series on training kids to obey. There's a lot of good material, Mom, so it took 2 parts to try to get through all your stuff. As we've been saying, Mother took this as a job. She felt like it was her responsibility to train her children, and it involved getting their attention, making sure they knew that she was talking to them, being consistent. If she said that this was not okay or to stop doing something, then that's what she expected to take place. Mm-hmm. And this all, when we think about this is all about safety, really. This is all about loving a child enough to train them so that they'll have a good life.
Right.
I know, I remember when my children were young, I thought, oh my goodness, I need to be able to just say one word. What if Brittany was running towards the street? I need to be able to say, stop, and expect her to stop in her tracks.
Right.
And the only way you get that is by consistently making them do what you tell them to do every time.
And use a voice of authority. And you can raise your voice. You don't yell, mad, but you can raise your voice. And that's very important to have a voice of authority.
Yes.
So they know who's in charge.
And you don't use a lot of words. You said
it's
just a command. This is what I want you to do. If they're not doing it, then you
don't even say please on that. Stop, please.
Yeah.
I mean, you would scream stop,
Right.
really,
Right.
if a child was going to the road.
Right.
Right.
So that's what we've been talking about.
That's
I want to get into just a couple new aspects that we didn't cover in the first video. If you haven't watched that one yet, we highly recommend it. But you even talked about in the paper that you wrote a few years ago that you would even, you called it a setup. Like you would set up maybe one of your kids for a lesson.
Right. When a child is a certain age, and you want to teach them or train them something, like if you want them to play out in the backyard and not climb the fence. So you tell, when they understand you and what age, a mother knows. So you tell them exactly, do not climb the fence. Then leave them, go in the house, hide behind the curtain and watch. Take time to see if they're going to obey you. Don't go do the dishes or you do your laundry and the neighbor calls you and said your kid climbed the fence, come and get him, But you watch. And if they start up the fence, you just have your little switch, zip out of the house, switch those little legs, don't say a word, take them down, and then you can say,
I told you not to.
I told you not, yeah. But I mean, when you switch, you don't say a word. And they get it. They get it right then. You say, don't climb the fence. Go in and watch again. And you'll save yourself and that child years of trouble if you'll take time to train them.
There's something about the element of surprise there.
Oh, there is.
You don't come out the door yelling, I told you not to climb that fence. You catch them in the act and give them a little swat.
Reminds me of a story that they tell about this mother. Her children were very unruly and they were out playing, but the neighbor said, like a cuckoo clock, about once on the hour, she'd open the door and scream, you kids, I've had it up to here now, and shut the door. That's the way they lived.
It wasn't even specific, huh? She just hollered out the door. Okay, so that's good, and that's important, and those are the lessons that stay. Another thing we didn't mention, which I think is so important, is if we will put in the time to really follow through and just be, choose your battles and just decide what matters and what you're going to require of your children at their different ages, and you put in the time, then there comes a point, and they're not that old, when you don't have to do it anymore.
Yeah, that is true.
Say something once,
yes,
and they respond. They've been trained to do this.
That is true. And as they age, this training, it just helps everything else to fall in place. Yep. It just really does. You kind of know when to back off and when to allow them to do this and that.
Exactly. So tell us, we've been talking about using a switch and spanking, and we know that's very controversial, and many people don't, or sometimes they use spanking, but it's a last resort. Like
Yeah.
what did you consider spanking a last resort?
No, because I think some people, if they wait for a last resort, they're angry by that time.
That's true.
And then I say never spank if you're angry.
For sure. For sure.
Right.
And that's right. If spanking's the last resort, but they just knew if they didn't,
Yeah.
if we didn't,
Mm-hmm.
there was a smack coming.
And by spanking and using a switch or a little bit of pain or whatever, some people use a wooden spoon or whatever. I just recommend a little switch because I did. But it changes a child's attitude, and that's what you're after. Because if you, you put them in timeout. Did we talk about that even?
No, we didn't. We
It
wanna talk
seems
about
like,
timeout.
you might say, now you sit there and think about what you did. They're not sitting there thinking about what they did. They're thinking, well, what can I do to get up?
Yep.
And so as soon as they get up, they repeat what they did. And if you
Ground them.
ground them, you're punishing yourself as much as you are them. I mean, because, they want up or if you take their stuff away and not, anyhow, this is quicker. This is quicker if you want to get something done quickly, then use it. And when you spank and when their attitude is changed, God made children and He knows what works. And a wonderful thing happens. God does this, I think. If you do this in love, if you spank in love and you correct in love, whatever I'm trying to put across here, the child's attitude changes. And I have had this happen. You just watch. You spank and you tell them what they did was bad or naughty. Not they are, but what they did. And if they do it again, they'll get spanked again. But I have noticed this happen when you do that and you let them go. They kind of hang around and they kind of snuggle up to you. And I think they want to know they're still loved. I mean, you might have even said, I love you and I don't want to spank you, but here they are. Don't miss this opportunity to seal your lesson. You hug them, you draw them in, and then you tell them, I love you, I don't like to spank you, but what you did was naughty. And if you do it again, I will spank you again. I love you. Give them a kiss and let them go and let them play. And their attitude is changed. They're a different child when you spank.
And sometimes people, you said, they might say, I'm mad at you. I don't want to look at you.
Oh, yeah, don't
That's-
ever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Yes.
The punishment is over.
Yeah,
It's
I'm glad-
over and done.
I'm glad you remember that. Yeah, some people say, you're bad. I don't like you.
Yeah.
I'm mad at you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's not what we want.
Don't do that.
So hopefully any of this is helpful. This is just our experience.
Right.
I certainly learned from my mother and had did use some things and didn't use some things. I remember specifically when Brittany was just in school, we had stopped spanking for some reason. We were taking away privileges and things, and it wasn't working. She just had an attitude, and it was getting worse every day. And I remember looking at her dad and saying, we are going to have to spank her. And he said, I know it. And so we did just that. We went and said, we don't want to spank you. We were not angry, but you have to change your behaviors. And so from this point forward, you will get a spanking if you misbehave. We spanked her, and she was a different child immediately, like the next day. So we would never advocate hurting your children.
Never.
And so hopefully you received this in love. We mean it
Yeah.
in love. We certainly didn't do everything right, so know that for sure.
Yeah, we're not saying that at all.
But it's all about love. Matt, are you going to sing a song for us?
Well, sure.
Okay, we're going to
All
let
right.
Matt close us out. So God bless you as you train your children in the way they should go.
Yes.
All right, the topic of the day is love, so I'm going to do a little song called Love. Well, Let's talk about love, 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 love. What it's all about. Talking about love, 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 love. Let your light shine out. Love the Lord with all your heart, all your mind, and all your strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. These are the most important things. Love, 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 love. What it's all about. Talking about love, 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 love. Let your light shine out. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little ones to him belong. They are weak, but he is strong in love, 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 love. What it's all about. Talking about love, 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 love. Let your light shine out. Talking about love, 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 love. What it's all about. Talking about love, 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 love. Let your light shine out. Let your light shine all around to every corner of your town. There's not one that does not need to know. I said I'm talking about love. Got to believe in love. Got to receive it. Love is patient. Love is kind. It never fails, and you will find that love, 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 love. What it's all about. Talking about love, 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 love. Let your light shine out. I'm talking about love, 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 love. What it's all about. Talking about love, 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 love. Let your light shine out.